morning, besides the earthquake going on Fox and Friends, superstar Dwayne The Rock Johnson was asked about... Yeah, he was asked about... Are his relatives here? What? He was asked about putting his weight behind Joe Biden in the last election, so watch.
Am I happy with the state of America right now? Well, that answer is no. Do I believe we're going to get better? I believe in that. I'm an optimistic guy, and I believe we can get better. The endorsement that I made years ago with Biden was one I thought was the best decision for me at that time. Am I going to do that again this year? That answer is no. I'm not going to do that because what I realized, what that caused back then was something that tears me up in my guts back then and now, which is division.
So, a couple of questions. First of all,
You see how quickly they turned on him? When they first introduced him, like, hey, The Rock was on Fox and Friends or whatever the show was that he was on. It was like, ah. And then all of a sudden it turned into boo. And they can turn on you just like that in the snap of a hat. At the drop of a dime, it can go from love to hate if you don't speak to their emotions. Now, The Rock didn't say anything. I think that I was able to read between the lines, and I got my opinion on where he stands on the issue. And I think that he actually thinks that Joe Biden did a horrible job. And so as a result of not angering his fans, he doesn't want to sow division amongst his fans, not necessarily the people, but he don't want to sow division amongst his fans because he wants to just be looked at as an entertainer. Right? Throwing your weight behind a political figure based off of popularity is not going to fly anymore. You are going to divide people against yourself. I ain't talking about the country. I'm talking about against yourself because the country is already divided over a whole bunch of issues that they don't necessarily agree with or the stuff that they're getting distracted by. But the reality is that he don't want no smoke. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I think it's best to pick a side and then silently roll with that side. But when you start to embrace all of the rest of this nonsense and you start to get yourself politically involved, and celebrities have been telling people how to vote and when to vote and how you're going to go about doing things since the beginning of time. I remember Vote or Die, and that was a disaster if you look back in time at how we went ahead and we did that. But the reality is that they turned on them immediately. Who still watches these? I guess it's a lot of people. Let me continue to play this really quickly.
Maybe they're not his relatives.
Yeah. So the question, first of all, should I pay any attention to who gives an interview on Fox where they lie every day? Yeah. Number one. Number two, should celebrities publicly endorse public figures? Or they should keep their politics to themselves? I mean, celebrities...
Wait. Either they with them or they was against them. They said that celebrities shouldn't endorse. They said, no, they shouldn't endorse public figures. But you just booed them for saying it. Y'all don't even know what y'all want.
These are U.S. citizens or American citizens. You don't lose your rights as a citizen because you are a celebrity. But, you know, I remember, I'm so old, like I was telling Molly today, I said, you know, I remember being at a Republican convention where The Rock spoke, and I remember him being at the DNC. It was in the year 2000 in Philadelphia, and when he spoke, he wasn't there. It was George W. Bush that was getting the nomination. He wasn't there endorsing. He was there raising awareness for voting and getting young people and his followers to be involved.
Like Taylor Swift is.
Yeah, so look, I think for him, the cause of division aspect is a real one. He also went to the DNC that year. And I think everybody's entitled to do whatever the hell they want.
You know, he's been quite political. I agree with you. And he's been very engaged and very involved. I do think we're living in a time where we have someone running for president that is an existential threat to democracy, right?
Yeah, and his name is called Joe Biden. Look, man, this guy is literally flying people in to the tune of over 376,000 migrants from other countries. I ain't talking about just storming over the border. And there's been millions of that. Over 376,000 migrants, and we can't even provide an explanation as to why they did it. And we're talking about the biggest threat to democracy. I think that one of the biggest threats to democracy is mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots, where you can't even verify that the person that's mailing it in is actually a real person. Mail-in ballots.
That is where we we are at. Someone who has
But you see, and this is why you keep saying, how I don't even understand how he keep getting in office and why he raising so much money. You see it in all of the hyenas in the chat.
88, criminal charges, 4 indictments, someone that has vowed to be a dictator on the very first day he takes office. Now is the time, if you have a platform, you must be active. You must speak out. That's how I feel. And I generally don't.
Unless you speak out and you pick a side that they don't agree with, then you become public enemy number one.
I generally don't.
And never put your ability to earn from your family on the line. Let me just say that before I play the rest of this video. Under no circumstances, under zero circumstances, listen, you can take your position and you can vote silently, and ain't nobody got to know your business. You can talk amongst your family and set that up, and that's the way we're going to roll. But under zero circumstances are you ever, as a man or a woman, to ever put the ability to earn and provide for your family, for these hyenas, for them to turn against you. You do your job, you be quiet, you go home, you play Denzel Washington out here in these streets.
Think that celebrities should be forced to be politically active.
Not forced.
But right now,
They have
if
an
you have a
obligation.
platform, you have an
Well,
obligation.
Reba McEntire was the one, I think, that said once, I don't want to speak about my politics because what I do is music and it's unifying. And when I go to a concert, she goes, I want everyone there to feel welcome and together. I don't want to divide anyone. So
She could do it at the end of the show.
But the point is there are very activist people that are entertainers. Kerry Washington is a self-proclaimed, I'm an activist.
Yeah.
You have Jane Fonda, activist. When you're not an activist and you happen to have a big platform, I think encouraging people to vote is the most important part because I think it's so vapid to imagine.
No, it's forcing people to educate themselves on policy and what they should look for when they're looking for a candidate that more closely aligns with their lifestyle or what they want for their family. It's not just voting. That's the wrong message that we've been getting forever. It's not just getting active and getting voted. Like, that's not it. That's not it. It's not about mobilizing young people. It's about ensuring that we educate ourselves regardless of which way that you vote as to why you're doing it, and not voting just because you don't like the other person or along party lines or because your favorite celebrity said that they like this person or they stand on this principle. That's the biggest thing that you want to do.
Imagine that just because someone says, I'm going to vote for this, that the sheep will fall in line and follow. Like, that minimizes voters everywhere. Yeah. So I don't think it matters who they're voting for. It's public participation. That's the important part.
I was a little bit surprised that The Rock said this because I consider him kind of an activist in the sense that he at one point talked about potentially running for office. There was a poll that said as many as 46% of Americans would want him to run for office. So I thought it was notable in an election with the stakes this high that this is the time he chose to sit it out. But that said, I completely agree with Sarah's point, which is I don't know that The Rock has a core constituency. It's not like Republicans are waiting to hear what he says or Democrats are and they're going to decide based on that. The most important thing he could do is encourage young people to get out and vote and let them make up for themselves who they should vote for.
But there are some endorsements that I think have mattered tremendously. I remember when Oprah Winfrey endorsed Barack Obama when he was running.
That's true.
Need I say more? Need I say more?
And that one was incredibly significant, made a difference. She not only endorsed, she went out and campaigned.
She might do
and
it
she wanted
actively.
to do that and
she
felt that to her bones,
Right,
and
so
that is great.
Listen, if they don't want to get involved, respect to them.
Yeah,
if they want to get involved and use their platform, leave them alone too.
Well,
There's people that attack folks that do that. So
There's a huge risk for some of them.
Yes.
If they,
There is.
You know,
But
like
now's the time to
like
take
Robert
it.
De Niro, who's the most brilliant
How
actor.
can somebody tell somebody that it's time to take it and you ain't never made Rock money or you ain't never been in a position that The Rock done been in? Get out of here, man. If I'm The Rock, I said what I said, even though I think that he did it wrong, which is one of the reasons why he should be quiet this time. I said what I said, and I'm keeping it moving.
Actor we've got.
Yeah.
Presently, besides maybe Pacino and a few others like that. But he is out against Trump. Calls him names, he thinks he's a horrible, and people online write again that he's not a good actor. Oh, suddenly, oh, really? Oh, yeah, and Marlon Brando. Yeah. I mean, so he takes a risk by doing it.
Yeah, but I don't think people are waiting to find out who people vote for. They're waiting on how they're going to hate them. So what they want is they're not waiting to support. They're waiting to be divided, to be offended, and then they're going to react. So what's the good in that?
I do still think, because we talked a lot about like Taylor Swift and Beyonce, could they
That's probably the truest thing that anybody on this panel has said, is that nowadays it's not waiting for your endorsement so that I can go out there and do what you said that I'm going to do. It's waiting to hate And then you got to wade through the waters, and then eventually they realize, hey, you might have been right about this, but they never going to come back and say it. They just hated you, and that's the end of it. And it's much more difficult to swing people back your way once they hate you than to just remain neutral, which is one of the reasons why these people want to do it, so that they can continue to get their bag up. Because this is a job at the end of the day. Entertainment is a job at the end of the day. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not that other thing.
Have an impact in this election, and I think they do a little more uniquely than The Rock in that their followers are younger, so they may be first-time voters, so encouraging them, A, to register to vote, but also you're not an ingrained voter, you're not committed to a party the first time you vote necessarily, so that's where I think it has more of an impact.
Although he's such a megastar, everyone loves The Rock, okay?
But that's the point. He wants everybody to look. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
There's a reason not everyone loves us.
Please
become more active.
That's exactly the point.
Nope.
And I remember him saying that line at the conventions. That's the point. Everybody loves The Rock, and The Rock wants everybody to love him.
But the guy,
Facts.
The Rock, he endorsed Biden the last time, and now he says he's not endorsing anybody.
Yeah.
But Trump has gotten worse since then.
He's gotten worse.
So we're going to go ahead and leave it there. What do y'all think? Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description. I got Stock Club in the morning. What do y'all think about this? And why is these shows still so popular? That just tells me that we got more work to do, because there's a huge segment of people that actually love and support this nonsense. It's weird. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Can't wait to read what y'all got going on inside of the comments. I'm holler at y'all later. Peace.